Hello, everyone. In honor of Remembrance Day, I'm pausing from my great uncle Ernest's diaries to focus on the letters that he wrote home during World War I. He enlisted on February the 24th, 1916, reporting to duty March the 1st. I will read his entry from February 24th, the day that he enlisted. He would have been 28 years of age. I signed up as a member of the 130th Battalion, Canadian Overseas Force, and am to report on March the 1st for duty. It will be a big change for me, and one that I do not altogether like, but the need for volunteers is very great, and it seemed to me that I was the one of this family that could best be spared. I am in possession of 6 of his letters dated from January the 13th, 1917, up until March the 29th, 1917. I can only assume that any of the letters that he may have wrote prior to that or thereafter have been lost. Today I'm going to begin with January the 13th, 1917, somewhere in France. Mrs. John F. Ferrier, Perth, Ontario. Dear Father and Mother and Boys, well, again, I am back in peace and quietness for a few more days, and so I've got started at my letter writing again. I got the biggest haul of letters this morning I ever received. 11 letters in a card, and then 2 parcels at noon. 1 from home and 1 from London. A pretty nice parcel and card, too. Some cake and candy, and a box of chocolates, a regular dandy tied up in blue ribbon, and just pretty nice, and this pad of paper, so you see I am supplied with paper for a while now anyway. And I had a letter from her this morning among the others, and if I am ever in London again, she is willing to show me the city again. She is all right, mind you, about my age too, but of course friends are friends, and we will stop at that. She is a companion, I think, in one of the older English families over there. And say, Mother, you have never made a better cake in your life than the one I got today. Do you know, I felt about the most like crying when I got those letters and that cake that I have since I enlisted, or at least left Canada. I passed around a few pieces of cake, and everyone agreed that it was a fine cake. I did not get to writing from the trenches this time, as I did not seem to have the chance. I was busier this time than any time yet, and I heard the most artillery fire that we have yet. It does start very suddenly sometimes. I was walking down the road with my skinner of soup and rice, and everything had been quiet, and a shell came up over my head, up so swift, and I thought it put some dirt in my skinner. I ate it all the same. But that was a signal for a bombardment that lasted for several hours, and such explosions as some of the shells do make. The earth flies up into the air sometimes, up 25 feet high, and you can feel the concussion a long piece away in some directions. I don't mind watching them explode a piece away, but of course one can't tell when they are going to come closer. If I am spared to get back, I hope I will never make light of the dangers that I have gone through, and that for having been brought through them, that I will make some attempt to be sufficiently thankful. I hear that Lloyd is getting his honors. Well, I am glad to hear it, and I expect that he will discharge his duties conscientiously and efficiently. I know nothing at all of the doings of the other lads that I used to know, but they are not very far from me sometimes. I am afraid some of them, though, will have gone, where so many go. I like most of the lads I am with, and of course I think they do consider me a queer lad, but still not a bad fellow. The most of them like some beer and ale, and just of course that is not my line. And in a way, it is pretty much nearly the only one sin for the evenings that there is, as there is not much to entertain one about camp. My correspondence takes most of my time. I think it was well for me that I got at what I did. A few lads tell me that they would try and get away if they were like me, but that was not what I came here for, and I want to have some satisfaction if I get back in knowing that I went all the way in, at least as far as the trenches anyway. Well, I will try and write before I go up the line again, and so we'll let this do for now. But don't think that I never was anything but a good boy, because I was not. And Pa, if I was at home now, you would not find me much improved. But goodbye for now, and I remain your loving son, Private J. Ernest Ferrier. And there ends my very brave Great Uncle Ernest's first letter. Please stay tuned for next week for his second letter, dated March the 20th, 1917. Thank you for listening.